How's it going, guys? It's Mash, and welcome to Let's Play Mega Man 5. Anyway, we have here a little intro, as always, with every Mega Man game now. Essentially, we have... Oh, that's not good. Apparently, a bunch of robots are, attacking and bent on destroying the world. And they're led by a robot that seems a little familiar to us. And not only is he really familiar to us, but he has stolen Dr. Light. Yes. Mega Man's brother Protoman has apparently gone bad and has stolen Dr. Light, their creator. And that just isn't going to work well for Mega Man, you see. So, we have another game. Anyway, guys, this is Mega Man 5, my least favorite of the classic series, just because it was just, the bosses weren't that good. But, anyway, I'll go into that a little bit once we get into the stage. Anyway, our first Robot Master was going to be Charge Man. Charge Man, a robot master based on steam locomotive, which is used by him as camouflage to make shipments for his creator. He is unique in that he is powered by coal and water, lowering his operating costs exponentially. His main attack, the charge kick, makes him throw a full throttle kick at his maximum speed. He is also able to launch a flaming pieces of coal from his smokestack. A good point is, he's straightforward, and a bad point is, he has a bellicose attitude, likes past reflections, and dislikes trendy fashions. So yeah, that's how I'm going to essentially be doing these wonderful new Let's Plays of mine, giving you a little bit of information of the boss before we get to it and getting into their stage. So it gives me more time to talk about the game, as well as, random stuff about the game, other things I might want to talk about. But anyway, this is Mega Man 5. This is Crash Man stage. Little bit of information about the game. In Japan, Mega Man 5, as always, was called Rockman. And it was Rockman 5 Loses Trap, so they had a little subtitle text for the name of the game. We never got those in America, but it gives you an idea of what's going on with the game and all that good stuff. Mega Man 5 was also the first game in the series to be dated 20XX rather than 200X, meaning that it's at least in like 2010 and above at this point. We still don't know the official dates, but that's such the case. Those Metools we dealt with earlier are very easy to beat. Once their heads come up, you can shoot them anywhere on their trains. If they hit you with the pellets, it's not as bad as if they crash right into you. They'll speed up really quickly the moment that they stick their heads up. If you don't shoot them in time, they'll just run charging towards you, and it'll hurt a lot. These mouses that we're dealing with as well, you cannot hit them without using the Charge Buster shots, as you saw right there. So they're pretty much a pain in the ass if you're not able to hit them when they're above you like that. Those little chicken things as well are very simple enemies, so we've dealt with things like that before. The little creatures they send out spawn pellets and health items and stuff like that. So if you ever want to mill for extra life or anything like that, that's the way to do it. Those little bat things up in the sky will actually they're kind of similar to the old bats that we used to deal with, I think, in the first Mega Man game or the second Mega Man game, but they now shoot pellets at you, so watch out for that. They can be annoying as well. As you can see up there, there is an A emblem. If we get all 8 emblems, there's one in each level. Gives us a special item that we will be using at the end of the game. It's a special weapon that, personally, I enjoy because it's my way of beating the final boss, and it wouldn't be the same without it. But anyway, we're almost done with Charge Man stage. As you can see, it's very train related because, he is a train. But a lot of these levels are actually really, really, really easy. They're very simply made. There is a little bit of challenge from the enemies themselves, as you can see, I've been taking quite a beating. But for the most part, all these levels are pretty tame. There are a couple that are, for a better lack of word, the level personification of Satan. But we'll deal with those later. Mostly we'll be dealing them in certain castles that I will not go into saying, just because. There's some people that haven't played this, I'm not spoiling it. But anyway, we have made it to Crash Man stage, and as one of many deaths in the game, I will mostly be dying to these bosses just because I had hardly any life, and for most of the time I really wanted to save any E-tanks that I do get in this game, because they will be quite useful later on in the game. But anyway, this is Charge Man. He will come charging towards us, or he'll come chasing after us, and sometimes he'll still just charge without shooting his his little fireballs. When he turns red, he's invincible, as you can see right there. He'll shoot 3 fireballs in the air. They're very random. I do not know when they'll come up. And it died. Anyway, we'll try that again, this time without, you know, dying. And essentially, that's his only pattern. He'll just keep shooting fireballs or charging towards me. It's pretty simple. Sometimes you can jump over him, sometimes he'll trick you out and stop beforehand like that, and you can get hit by him like that. It's very careless, but it can happen. Another thing about this game that I do not like, next to the fact that these Robot Masters are pretty bland, is that they're very easy to beat. You can actually beat every single one of these Robot Masters easy with the Mega Buster. The thing about the Mega Buster this time around that's a little different is that you could see it in Mega Man 3. Oh, not Mega Man 3, Mega Man 4, when the Mega Buster was released, the Charge Buster, is that when you get hit now, you lose the charge. That wasn't in Mega Man 4, it made it a little bit easier. The Mega Buster, though, is so strong, as you can see, I just took him out right there. But now that they've added that little whole thing about, you know, avoiding shots now that you're trying to charge him, it added a little bit more depth into dodging, which is a good thing. But anyway, we have defeated Crashman, and we've gotten his signature weapon, if I forgot the name of it right there, the Charge Kick. Charge Kick. To activate this power, Mega Man must slide while the weapon is active, causing damage with his slide and being immune to some attacks and traps while using it. So yeah, that's the Charge Kick. We're gonna now use that Charge Kick, though, against this bastard here, Waveman. Waveman, an amphibious combat robot master created to invade and take control of the water quality administration. Armed with the water wave, Waveman is capable of attacking by producing pressurized columns of water which burst from the ground towards his opponent's positions. A good point is he's a sentimentalist. A bad point is he loves solitude. He likes diving and dislikes sludge. So yeah, that's Waveman right there, the standard water enemy of the game. Luckily though, most of his level does not even really feature water. There is for a little bit of time, but honestly, it's very lacking in the water level department. Going through these tubes will essentially choose your path and ways you can get some stuff. If you take the middle one, you'll miss that life, so always take the top one. Extra life is always good. Extra life will always be welcomed, even when I'm at max lives. But anyway, the little steam that's jetting out of those cracks are a pain in the ass to avoid. Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't. For the majority of it, I do not, though. And now this little part right here is actually ripped off later on in Mega Man 9. Almost the exact same thing to do, but in the Mega Man 9 version of it, you're actually in water. But the little bubbles are jutting out. The giant ones, you can stay on them, they won't pop. The smaller ones will pop after a few seconds of you standing on them, so make quick work of those jumps. Don't second guess yourself, just know when they're coming and do it. Anyway, as you can see, there are spikes on the top of this roof, so you've got to be very careful with your jumps. If you take too long and you jump really too high, you're gonna have a bad time. Anyway, Waveman stage is actually a little special compared to other Mega Man classic stages in the sense that we can actually ride on a jet ski. And for the most part, it's essentially just us going on this little track. Try not to stay all the way to the left, because you can actually have some of those Sniper Joe-like creatures actually come around and hit you. So it gives you a little bit of time to actually react. A lot of the enemies here actually take more than one hit, and you cannot charge any kind of move, so you got to be very careful. Those little tadpole things are kind of a pain in the ass, and I got a free man. Sweet. But for the most part, it's very simple. And now we're going to actually deal with our mini-boss here for this level. We have to hit the little green crystal that's in his head. And if you can time it right, which I did not do when I was fighting him this time around, was timing when you're jumping so you can actually trick him out, so you can do things like that, like I just did. I was doing a horrible time doing it, and I've lost so much life that I believe I do die at this point, at some point, without getting off the jet ski. I don't quite recall. Yeah, I think I took so much damage. But I will be actually getting the emblem in this area as well. As you can see, those little jumping pink... Yeah, I didn't get it that time. What we're going to end up doing now is go through that entire wave bout again. But when you see after the mini-boss, 2 of those little pink fishes jump in the air, that's when you know you're getting right next to the emblem, so you're prepared to jump. Which we will be able to do this time around. I recall now that I do not die anymore. At least in the sense of getting through this jet ski area. I don't recall if I died a Wave Man. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but we will see. Anyway, a little bit more about the game. As you can see, since there's hardly any much of a water level, and we're actually near the end of the water level itself, this was the Mega Man 4 was the last game to actually feature the Rush Marine. It was a very wasteful area, like wasteful space for, you know, an item. No one really ever used it, even in the water levels, except if you like were having just a really hard time in like spiked filled areas. But it was just a waste of space, so they just took it out. Wasn't really doing much for the game, so Mega Man 4 was the last time we do see Rush Marine. Also, if you did notice, if you are very good at and keen at paying attention to how some of the levels look, the boss, you know, the boss shutters before you get to the final bosses for every match and everything, they're actually a lot shorter than they normally are in every other Mega Man game. I didn't know this until recently when I was looking it up, and they're actually a little bit shorter than they were in the original games, and also later on they're a little bit bigger than afterwards. The only other time they've ever been smaller than that is actually for the Street Fighter Cross Mega Man Flash game that they made, that Capcom helped produce. As you can see, those two are jumping. Was it this one? Did I got them already when I was talking. I'm an idiot. But you saw when I got the emblem, so yeah. Anyway, we have made it to the boss level already. It's pretty simple. These levels are pretty short. Oh yeah, I'm sure I died though against Wave Man with how little life I have. But essentially, this is Wave Man. He will shoot jettison water like that. I don't know how you avoid it. There's no real set way of knowing when he's gonna do it. You'll know he'll step down, but you won't know where it's gonna land. So you have to be kind of careful with that. And as you saw me there, I actually used the charge kick there. You're not able to shoot your buster when you're using the charge kick. You can only do a slide, and when doing the slide, you'll essentially be able to damage them. It's not very useful unless you're actually going up against Wave Man, though. So if you slide through Wave Man at the right times, you can actually slide through him without getting hurt. If he does have the water wave out, you will get hit by it. So keep that in mind. But like that, we're already done with Wave Man. Pretty simple. And we have now received his weapon, the Water Wave. And we are going through these Robot Masters pretty damn easy. Water Wave. When used by Mega Man, he sends out 3 water spouts as a small wave across the floor that can absorb some enemy projectiles. The waves can only be fired when the player is in contact with the ground. It will stop when it hits an enemy that is strong enough to sustain the hit, or until it hits a wall. So now we're going to be going up against Starman, my favorite Robot Master of the game, just because of his design. He looks really nice, looks very fluid, and yeah. Starman, a Robot Master created for space combat. He is a romanticist that enjoys watching opera and musicals. He dreams of traveling deep into space with a lover. A good point is he is a romanticist. A bad point is he is an escapologist. He likes opera and dislikes robots without dreams. Now, despite the fact that he is my favorite Robot Master of this game, he is also probably one of the lamest in the sense of how you're able to beat him. But anyway, we are now in deep space apparently. As you can notice, we have somewhat what the water physics are normally in Mega Man games, but now we're in space. So be woeful of where you're jumping, because as you can see, there are spikes. Time your jumps correctly, or else you'll have a bad time. Because like in every other Mega Man game, spikes are an instant kill. These little bouncing things are pretty simple to beat. You can easily just, you know, just move back and forth until you hit them enough times for them to die. Those little green platforms that I keep shooting are actually turrets that'll come out when you get close enough to them. You can kill them with a Mega Buster shot. Pretty simple. And as you can see right there, there is the M now for the Mega Man emblem. Be very careful, because as you can see, there are spikes still. So we gotta be very careful. Whew, that was close. Anyway, other stuff with this game. This is the first game in the Mega Man series that regular enemies actually had longer invincibility flames. I don't know why they did it, but if you actually notice, when you are able to shoot enemies that have multiple hits, you can actually the second hit, like if you're mashing your buttons, it won't kill it faster, so you have to time your attacks a little easier. I think they did it to avoid mashing or people using turbo fire or anything like that. So And I died there. I overstepped my jump on that one. That was a poor mistake, but a mistake that happens to a lot of people. But you got to be very careful with mashing your buttons now in this game because of those multi-hit enemies that can still survive even when getting hit by the Mega Buster charged. Just got to be a little careful. It adds a little bit more challenge to the game, but compared to what's in this game, it's not really challenging at all. So just keep that in mind whenever. Anyway, those little rockets that I shot before will leave debris that can hurt us, as you can see before. So be very mindful with how you kill them. Normally I like to just take out these turrets because you never know, you could actually overstep your boundary still because you're worried you're going to get hit by them and then get killed by the spikes. Whole lot of different stuff. Anyway, these little walkers here are only able to be hurt through their top of their heads. For some reason, if you hit them in a specific spot with the Mega Buster, it'll bounce it off, so just be aware of that. They do take a lot of damage though, so keep that in mind as well. These Matars were annoying as hell when I was trying to kill them, and I hope they burn in hell. Alright. So what else can I speak about this game? Oh, yeah, that's true. There were over a total of 130,000 boss character submissions for this game. In Japan, they really tried to focus more on, trying to get some people out there to give their own ideas for Mega Man, help in the process of creating a Mega Man game. And apparently there were over 130,000 different, decisions, and they came up with these 8. And as much as I love Starman's design, I really feel like there's probably some better designs than the other 7. Just between you and me, I feel like there were. But anyway, we have made it to Starman stage, and he is the stereotypical shield enemy. He will jump around and sometimes freeze in midair, throwing his star crash there, but it's very easy to avoid. It is laughably easy to avoid because of just like I can just jump over like that. Even he'll have me really close to a wall, and I'll still be able to jump over and just not even care. It's a very, very poor battle, but look at that. Like, look how close I was to the edge there with him there, closing me off, and I was still able to avoid it. And with that, Starman is dead. Fortunately, favorite robot master of this game is also one of the weakest. But all of them are pretty weak, honestly. But anyway, we have got his weapon, which is actually that shield. And we also get a special weapon, I believe, called the Super Arrow, if I recall correctly. Now we get the Star Crash and the Super Arrow. I'll talk about the arrow later, though. Star Crash. This weapon creates a star-shaped barrier around Mega Man for protection, and it can be fired at enemies in the direction he is facing. Anyway, guys, that's it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. This is Mash, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.